Hello, this is King Rex coming at you with the Sith information guide. This goes with the Sith playthrough I had on Deadlock Planetary Conquest. You don't need to watch this in order to watch the playthrough. It's just an information guide to go over some of the concepts more quickly. Just a quick PowerPoint presentation. I'll go over the advantages and disadvantages of the Sith, some strategies you can use, mostly at the beginning of the game to get you off the ground to having a good colony, and the special units that the Sith have. The advantage of the Sith is that their moral generally stays the same, which means you can treat them as badly as you would like. You don't have to worry about their culture. Other races, their culture and art limit is a plus 35%, which sounds big, but overpopulation can be negative 20 points, starvation can be negative 20 points, taxation can be another negative 10 points. That's 50 points before you even get into military presence, which is one per patrolling unit. It doesn't go into scandals by the scurrying in or relu subversion. So there's a lot of things that can drop your morale down. So it can go down really quickly if you don't watch it, which you don't have to watch it with the Sith. And they also set it and forget it tax rates. You can just set it to the highest rate and never look at your taxes again. Like I said, you can crowd them into a territory. You don't need food, and they will never riot or rebel on you. Races can riot, which can destroy buildings and kill a lot of colonists, and they can rebel going over to another colony, so you don't have to worry about those things with the Sith. How food works, this works for every race except for the Sith, where the Sith don't have to produce food, but food only affects morale, so it will not affect your population growth or your population at all. So even though it says the colonists are starving, they actually are just unhappy about lack of food. It doesn't actually cause them to starve. Starvation occurs with any shortage. That means if you have 50 people in a colony and there's zero food, there'll be starvation. If there's only 49 out of 50 food needed, there's starvation. And it does work on a sliding scale that you move on based if needs are met or not. If all the needs are met and your colonists are well fed, you will move up to, toward level zero. If all the needs are not being met, you will go down towards level seven, and it is a turn by turn. So if your needs have been met through say the first five turns, on turn six are not met, you'll go to level one. If they're not met again in turn seven, you'll go down to level two. Then if they are met in turn eight, you'll go back up to level one. So it does go up and down. The advantage here with the Sith is that farms can take up a lot of workers. A hydroponic farm takes six workers fully stocked. A regular farm takes eight workers. It takes a lot of tech to get to food replication, which takes four workers for a replication station. It does take a lot of tech to get to that point. So many times that's one of those techs that you just don't even research because there's no tech that comes after that. And you're probably already got your food needs met by that point. Also, it costs a lot to transport food. The cost to transport food between your territories, which is the cheapest. Starting cost is 2 credits per unit of food. If you get hoverway, it goes down to one. You can get transporters toward the end of the game and bring it down to zero. But the cost is an extra credit if it's through a neutral territory. Um, Even more credits if it comes through a enemy territory, and even higher if it goes through water. So it can be up to 5 credits. So that's a lot of money you can save with the Sith by not having to pay to transport goods, and you can save some workers by not having to put them on farms. Scandals and subversion are skirting scandals is when you buy or sell products on the black market. Um, if you watched the video, one of the first things I do is sell off that 100 excess food because you can get 100 credits, and then you won't have to pay to move food to your second colony once you set it up in your second territory. You'd be paying 2 credits per turn for that first colonist, and as that colony grows, you be paying more money out until your food's basically been exhausted at 100 credits of food. So you might as well sell that, get the money, and save a little money on top of it. Um, And Relu subversion is when the Relu, which are another alien race, they have scouts, which are basically spies that can subvert the morale of the other alien races. The big advantage here, though, with the Sith is, even though these things can't um, affect their morale, it will fully recover on the next turn. So if you have a scurrying scandal, the next turn your morale is right back to 80%. And there's really no other negative except you do lose those workers for one turn. Other races would have to recover that over several turns. And with the Relu, it was the minute you get rid of the Relu spy, which you can put patrolling units in, which doesn't bother the military presence, does not bother the Sith, so you can put those patrolling units in, and they will pretty much just help get rid of that spy without any negative consequence. The other ones would have to offset that negative morale. Other races can only recover 10 points per turn at max. So if it was a case where they had a 40-point drop in morale, it'd take them 4 turns to come back from that. Plus, they'd have to find a way to recover that morale, which can be difficult because a lot of times you have your colonies set up so that your morale is kind of where you need it to be. Like you might have a colony that's got 50 colonists in it, and it's got a penalty for overcrowding of 15 to 20 points. So it's going to be hard to recover that morale when you can only have 35 total points. The morale generally says 80% is also the negative thing about the set though, because the workforce efficiency is capped at 80%, um, meaning that they can never go up to 100%. There's nothing you can do to get them up above 80%. They only pay a 75% tax rate, so that basically offsets the advantage of being able to set your taxes high because they pay less taxes. It's also easy to maintain morale because you can put one hydroponic farm in each territory and one museum in each territory, and you'll generally have your food needs met, and you can overcrowd a little bit and stuff like that. So it's not super difficult to maintain a decent morale with these other races um, in a territory because you literally can just put these buildings in there and they'll have that ability. And you can actually, although some territories, the farming won't be good, swamps and mountains are really bad for food, but you can still have one hydroponic farm in there and ship in the little extra that you need. The other disadvantage here is that the sets really have no other bonuses of note. The only good thing is that they're just really the easiest race to play because you don't have to worry about food and culture and overcrowding or nothing like that. Although there are some advantages to not having to worry about food, and actually, so it does help you just focus on other things more. Strategies with the set, I'd say settle your first territory in the woods. Woods don't give quite as good population growth as plains. It's a 6% modifier rather than an 8% modifier, so you lose 2% in growth. But you just don't need those plains because plains are really only good for producing food, and they're kind of bad at producing everything else. So I also say sell all your food to the scurry knee. Even if you take over a territory that you're going to keep, you can sell that excess food off because it will transport that food throughout your colony. If you take over a territory that's got 400 food in it and you don't sell it off, that could cost you 800 credits to move that food around to other territories, and it will move it if you have it and give it to your colonists. So you can just set the colony. You want to set the colony taxes to the highest rate. I say research metallurgy first, then convert what remains for steel and iron, steel to iron. Basically, you will have to build a university to tech metallurgy, and you will have to build a factory to convert the steel to iron. I think you should also probably build a power plant first. But once you build these 3 buildings, you'll still have 50 iron, and if you can 50 steel, and if you convert that to iron, that's like having 250 steel. Actually, I just said that backwards. You want to convert your iron to steel, but that 250 metal will actually go a very long way early in your early in the game for you, because it's not really till you start producing a lot of military units that you really start using a lot of metal. Build just one farm for wood. The only things that take wood in the game are um, mines take them, and you will need to build mines. Colonizers take them. I think they take like 10 wood, so it's really low. Hydroponic farms take wood, but you'll never need to build a hydroponic farm. Culture buildings take wood, but you never need to build a culture building. So really, you don't need a lot of wood. If you have one farm, you can upgrade it to a hydroponic farm if you want to. If you start in the woods, you should have good wood production, at least somewhere within your first territory. You can simply just build that on one farm, and it should keep you good for the rest of the game. Also, I'd say avoid settling in plains territories, because farms make the most. I mean, not farms. Woods make the most enduring, which is a type of metal, and they make the most wood, and they make the second most of every other resource. Swamps make the most energy, and mountains make the most iron. And that's really what you need. You don't need food with the Cyth and the extra point. So you do lose a little population growth, but I think you get better production otherwise. Thank you for watching this video. Like, share, subscribe, and don't forget, I have an entire playthrough with the Cyth on this channel that you can watch, which is probably better than watching this video, but I think this is a good video to have kind of go along with that video. Thank you. Bye.